Suttas containing a total of 271 suttas. Most of these Samyuttas are subdivided into several sections, usually of 10 suttas each. So in the Pali Text Society copy of this Samyutta Nikaya, when they refer to the suttas, they also refer to these sections. But for this suttas that I'm going to read, I will not refer to the sections. I will only refer to the sutta number in that Samyutta. For example, if I say sutta number 25.49, that means it is the 25th Samyutta in this Samyutta Nikaya, 25th chapter, and 49th sutta in that Samyutta. So bear in mind that the sutta numbers will be, the first number will be the Samyutta number, the second number will be the sutta number in that whole Samyutta. Now we come to the first Samyutta, the Devata Samyutta. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi explains here, Devata is an abstract noun based on Deva. But in the Nikayas, it is invariably used to denote particular celestial beings, just as the English word deity, originally an abstract noun meaning the divine nature, is normally used to denote the supreme god of theistic religions or an individual god or goddess of polytheistic faiths. Though the word is feminine, the gender comes from the abstract suffix "ta" and does not necessarily mean the Devatas are female. The texts rarely indicate their sex, though it seems they can be of either sex and sometimes perhaps beyond sexual differentiation. Okay, so now we will go into the first sutta. The first sutta, so the sutta number is 1.1. The title here is Crossing the Flood. Thus have I heard. This translation, thus have I heard, the Pali is Evame Sutang. Like when we chant the Mangala Sutta, we always start with Evame Sutang. And in Chinese, the meaning is Ru Si Wo Wen. Thus have I heard. This phrase, the Buddha advised the monks to use whenever they quote a sutta. That means they have heard it from the Buddha. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling in Savatthi in Jeta's grove, Anathapindika's park. Then when the night had advanced, a certain Devata of stunning beauty, illuminating the entire Jeta's grove, approached the Blessed One. Having approached, he paid homage to the Blessed One, stood to one side and said to him, "How, dear sir, did you cross the flood?" And the Buddha said, "By not halting, friend, and by not straining, I crossed the flood." Again he asked, "But how is it, dear sir, that by not halting and by not straining, you crossed the flood?" And the Buddha said, "When I came to a standstill, friend, then I sank. But when I struggled, then I got swept away. It is in this way, friend, that by not halting and by not straining, I crossed the flood." And the Devata said, "After a long time, at last, I see a Brahmin who is fully quenched, who by not halting, not straining, has crossed over attachment to the world." This is what the Devata said. The teacher approved. Then that Devata, thinking, the teacher has approved of me, paid homage to the Blessed One, and keeping him on the right, disappeared right there. That's the end of the sutta. Now, this Deva asked the question, how did you cross the flood? This flood, crossing the flood means going over to the other shore. Sometimes they use this expression, and it means becoming liberated. This shore is samsara, the mundane world, which is the cycle of birth and death, and the other shore is nibbana. So to cross over to the other shore also means cross the flood. And the Buddha said, by not halting and by not straining. Another translation you can use is by not standing still and not striving hard across the flood. And then he asked, how is it by not standing still and not striving hard? The Buddha said, when I came to a standstill or when I stood still, then I sang. But when I strove hard, then I got whirled about. This is another translation. I got whirled about. It is in this way, friend, that by not standing still and not striving hard, I crossed the flood. So what the Buddha means is that he practiced a middle path. In the beginning, when the Buddha used effort to struggle, to seek liberation, he used excessive effort. And he used excessive effort to the extent that he underwent various types of ascetic practices, extreme ascetic practices, like going naked. He said when he was practicing the ways of the naked ascetic, in the daytime he would be scorched by the sun, because India sometimes daytime is extremely hot, be burned by the sun. And at night, when the cold wind blows from the Himalaya mountains, he'll be shivering so much that his teeth will be chattering. So that was one extreme. And then another type of extreme was like he ate little. He practiced like eating one meal a day, then later 2 days one meal, and then later 3 days one meal, and then 4 days one meal, until I think 14 days he only took one meal. But of course when he took that one meal, he will gorge himself as much as he could, and then after that he refuses to eat for 13 days. So when he tried this type of practice and he found that it did not bring him enlightenment, then he abandoned it. Then he tried something else. Then he tried like eating less, eat every day but eat less, and eat less and less and less until he ate 1 grain of rice a day, nothing else, 1 grain of rice a day, because his desire to become liberated was so strong. So in the explanation of the Noble Eightfold Path, it is said, or the Four Noble Truths, it is said that the cause of suffering, dukkha, is craving, and one of the cravings is craving for existence and craving for non-existence. So in this case, his craving for non-existence, that means to be liberated from this world, was excessive. So it is a cause for continued existence, because if a person uses too much effort, then he is not cool. Nibbana is a state, a cool state. So to reach Nibbana, the cultivator has got to be cool. So when you use too much effort, the mind is very agitated. The desire is too strong. So that's why he said when he strove too hard, he got whirled about. It's like in a whirlpool. But when he did not use any effort at all, then he sang. So without